right, everybody looks good. Everybody looks good. Hey, we're transitioning this morning from one series where we've spent the last time, we'll get this ringing worked out here in just a minute, where for the last 3 weeks we've talked about the cross, and we've asked some very tough questions, and we really try to be that kind of culture here at Dulles where we don't skirt around some of the tough questions. And so we've been asking, why did man have to die for us to make us right with God? We then ask the question, why does death on a cross, why does that have to happen? Such a brutal, gruesome death. For those of you who've seen The Passion of the Christ, we ask questions around that. Why did that kind of death have to happen for us to be made right with God? And what we found in these 3 weeks is this remarkable, clear answers from Scripture that don't leave us perplexed, but draw us. They have a drawing effect toward a God who loves us very much. And so today, on Easter Sunday, you may not have known this when you came today, but we are beginning a very big series today called The Face of Love. And so we're really going to segue from this idea that our God did this amazing thing for us on the cross. And we're going to start talking about this idea that you and I were made for love. And listen, I might be losing some of the guys in the room right now, so stay with me. We were made for this. This is what we were made for. And I'm not talking about necessarily just romantic love. I'm talking about being love to the people around us. And there are a whole lot of problems that go with that in our culture. And even right here in our church, we have a lot of questions, and if we're honest, a lot of disappointment around this idea of love. We thought we knew what love was. We thought it was clear to us. We've had it modeled for us in a whole array of ways. And if we're honest, a lot of us wake up in some particular day or season of life, and we're just not so sure. Is this what love is supposed to be? And so I've become convinced in my walk with Christ, and this is more recent, honestly, in recent years. I have come to the place of being convinced that we were made not just to experience love at times in life, or maybe there's some few among us who are fortunate enough to experience love more consistently. I believe you and I were made for this reason. We have a lot of successful people in this room. CEOs, doctors here this morning, executives, prestigious military careers that we could talk to. This morning already I've talked to a war hero who's here in our church this morning. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, what the Scriptures describe, I have found to be true, that we were made for love. And so I'm inviting you this morning on a journey in the weeks ahead on this, and I think it's going to be fun. We're going to dissect some fun clips that you'll recognize from television, and I'm not going to tell you which week, but one of the weeks I'm going to show you a clip from The Bachelor. I watched The Bachelor this season, and there's one clip I want to show you that'll be in a couple weeks. But we really are, and seriously, we're going to talk about culture. We're going to talk about us and our address right at our house, in your home, in my home. How we not only experience love, but how we can be love, which is what we were really made for, more than anything else. Okay, so I walked into the room the other day, this weekend, and my youngest daughter, she's 8, her name is Reagan, she was watching High School Musical on TV, the first one. If you just wonder what TV shows the pastor's kids watch on Easter weekend, the answer is High School Musical. Okay. I'm sure some of you just assumed the 10 Commandments. Maybe next year. But, okay, so this is even about the movie. This is about a memory that I have. Some people are nostalgic and they kind of want to go back and they're aging and man, remember when? And I'll tell you, that was a time in my life I never want to go back to. Never. I mean, high school was okay, sports was okay, but not only did I have a mullet, by the way, that has gotten way overblown here. That picture has been shown so many times. I only had that mullet for less than a year. It actually really was less than a year. So, anyway, back to the point. The other real clear memory I have from high school happened one day after lunch. The girl that I've been dating, and she was a nice girl, very respected in our school. I would even say she was popular, sweet girl. But after lunch one day, we'd been dating for a couple months. I was a senior. We left the cafeteria, she and I, and 3 or 4 of my friends were with me. And we walked up the staircase at the end of, we were at the end of one end of the building with the cafeteria. So we went upstairs, and we were at the end of this very long hall above the cafeteria, and we were having a discussion about us and our relationship. And I don't remember what I said, but the gist of it was, I don't know if it's love, or something like that. And I had given her my class ring. She'd been wearing it for a month or 2. And something like that was my response to something very important she was saying to me about our relationship and our future and all the years together. And I was like, ooh, wow, I don't know. I was trying to tell her, I don't know if this is love. I mean, I think maybe, sometimes I feel that way, other times. Okay, and I kid you not, I did not see her hand coming. She, and I have 3 or 4 of my buddies who attest to this, she jacks at me so hard. And I want to say I blacked out for like 2 or 3 seconds. As I'm like recovering from this, and my buddies are like just stunned beside us, I look up and she is doing this to my ring. And what became funny later, to the guys, and actually she and I did much later laugh, we could laugh about this. She couldn't get my ring off her finger. And she's making this big scene, and my face hurts really bad. And she finally gets this thing off, and she turns toward the long hallway, and she does a John away with this thing. And that ring bounced and bounced, all like out of sight down the hall. I left that moment convinced more than ever that I didn't know what love looked like, smelled like, felt like. I was confused. And this is what I think happens to a lot of us. I think a lot of us wake up one day as adults, and we're just as confused. I mean, if we're honest, we feel just as confused or disappointed. And this isn't about romantic love. This series is about being what we were made, what we were intended to be from the beginning of time. Before we chose the path different from God's greatness. Remember what the beginning of Scripture says, you and I were made unlike anything else in creation. We were made in the image of God. We were made to reflect and embody the greatness and the nature and the character of God. And when we deviated from His greatness, the Apostle Paul calls it the glory of God. When we deviated away into what Scripture calls sin, we were in this fallen, broken, fragmented version of what God intended for us. What He meant for you and me at the beginning was for you and I to be His nature, His character, to be love. And so we hear that and think, okay, maybe there's even an inkling inside of your heart where you know innately He's right. Beyond the career and all the money and all the dreams. And that is where real life is.